There are a lot of reasons to love Spider-Man, and he's a character that's known and loved worldwide by people of all different ages. There are many different versions of Spider-Man, and many of them are inspiring for all sorts of reasons. But today, as we begin Spider-Man No Way Home week and the spider hype is real high, I want to take some time to spotlight Tobey Maguire's iteration of the character, who's been an influential presence in my life and of many others, and share how he's impacted me. I'm hoping this will open opportunity for others to share or discuss how he may have impacted them. I'm also hoping to do a separate video for Andrew Garfield's version of the character later this week before No Way Home hits theaters. For me, the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire came out when I was a teenager, and it was really influential in how I developed as a person. When I was a kid, I used to grow up watching the 90s animated Spider-Man series, and it was so cool for me to see a great live-action representation of that character. Whenever he would be swinging through the streets or doing any cool Spider-Man stuff, really, my inner child would just light up with joy. And I think the joy that Tobey showed in the scenes where he first gets his powers really cemented that connection for me. We see his character as Peter Parker go through many of those type of experiences, and yet through his story we learn that over time, none of those things really mattered all that much, or at least they didn't matter nearly as much as his ability to make an impact as Spider-Man. Of course, we all heard of and know the famous saying, with great power comes great responsibility. But it's really through his story and the way that we see the evolution of that story that we really learn what that means. This helped to reinforce, for me in my life, that I can make a positive difference in people's lives, just like Spider-Man. And regardless of whether others may know it or show it or reward it, that it's valued, that it's appreciated, at least on some level. And that it does make a difference. With Peter and with Spider-Man, we see that at times he doesn't get appreciated, thanked, or rewarded, but the people that he's helping, they do value him, they do appreciate him, and we've seen at times that they're even willing to be heroic to protect and support Spider-Man in the same way that he did for them. For me in my life, I can be like Spider-Man by just being a positive influence for people. I may not be able to web swing or shoot webs out of my hands, but I can help people, I can support people, I can be a good listener, I can just try to become more active and skilled in the arts of kindness. And for me, that was my connection to Spider-Man. That was my way of feeling like Spider-Man. And for a young person growing up, I didn't need validation anymore, because that was everything to me. Feeling like Spider-Man was everything to me. This helped me feel good about myself in situations where if it wasn't for Spider-Man, I might have otherwise felt resentful over how I was treated or the way that I was perceiving something. And this helped me mold myself into a better version of myself, one that was less self-centered, one that placed a higher level of value on the impact that I was able to have for my actions and with my actions, rather than the reward or recognition or appreciation that they may have been received with. The other thing that I wanted to touch on that really impacted me was the forgiveness arc that we saw in the Spider-Man 3 movie with the Sandman story. Now, despite the flaws of this movie, I thought that arc was really excellent and really impactful on me as well, in the way that I perceived revenge and forgiveness. For Peter, we see how toxic resentment can be and the way that it can turn you into something ugly. And for Peter, it got really ugly. And this helped me to see the value of forgiveness, not just for others, but for myself as well. And the way that this story was done really impacted me and helped me to better learn to be able to forgive in my own life and to be more self-compassionate towards myself, because I certainly had shortcomings and flaws that when I was younger I would overly fixate on, and even at times still, I still have to catch myself when I'm being overly critical of myself. And so this movie really just helped me to be a little bit more forgiving and self-compassionate and self-accepting. So anyways, those are some of my thoughts about some of the ways that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man has influenced and affected me in my life. And if you made it this far, I'd like to thank you for listening and holding space for me to share some of that inspiration. Now, if you've been inspired by Spider-Man in your life, whether it be Tobey's version or any other version, I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you feel like you want to share. This isn't meant to be a discussion of who's the best Spider-Man, but really I'm just hoping that this turns into an opportunity for people who love the character and appreciate the character to share some of that love and some of that appreciation. And again, let's keep this spoiler free for Spider-Man No Way Home. So I hope you have a great day, and I'd love to hear some of your inspiration. Thanks and have a good one.